So the question is, what do I not like about this suspension? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm kidding. All right, so today I wanted to discuss a topic that I've got a couple DMs, especially Ramsey. Ramsey, if you're watching this, thank you for reminding me I needed to make a review about the Bilstein B16 Coilovers. So with the Bilstein B16 Coilovers, if you guys haven't watched that video, I'll link it up on top and also in the description. I've had that suspension on my car for the past month and a half. And I'm gonna give you guys my personal opinion about the Bilstein B16 Coilovers and why I switched over from the KW Haas kit. So right now I'm gonna take a little drive, kind of give you guys my opinion about it, and I'm gonna run some errands obviously, so I'll fill you in as I do these errands. But when I first bought this car, if you guys have seen a stock F80 or a stock F82 M4, the height of the car is really awkward. So you get that huge gap in the front that makes it kind of embarrassing to go to car shows and car events. And then the rear, you just need a slight drop. So at the time, I was thinking I needed something to fulfill the height requirement, so to say, for myself. And I was looking into springs. I was also looking into the KW Haas kit. I ultimately went up to the Haas kit and got that only because I wanted to have the adjustability of what height I wanted. Because when you buy springs, you get only one adjustment, whatever the manufacturer has set it to. So, you know, at least with the Haas kit, if I wanted to lower it to the lowest point, or if I wanted to bring it up because maybe I didn't want to go that point, I could have done that. But so I got the KW Haas kit installed about a year and a half ago at EUROMOTIVE Performance, and the car looked great. I had my 437 M's on there with the stock wheels, and it looked amazing, looked great. It kind of gave it that OEM plus look. And I'll insert a photo right now, or sorry, a couple photos. Great setup, I liked it. And then I ended up getting the Z Performance wheels. ZP.09. And those wheels are 20s and a lower profile tire. And you could kind of see the wheel gap in the front that I wasn't a big fan of. So I went back to EUROMOTIVE Performance, got my height readjusted on that, and lowered the front to the max point. So when I lowered it to the max point, the only issue that I had was that the ride quality suffered at that point. Because before that, the ride quality was decent. I didn't really have too much of any complaints, because you're never gonna have the same performance capabilities with a stock strut and lowering springs compared to a coilover. And that's my personal opinion. I'm pretty sure other people agree with that. So I had the ZP.09 Z Performance wheels on there, and you can kind of see that wheel gap in the front, and I wasn't a big fan of that. So I went back, got the suspension lowered even more, and then the ride quality took a suffering. So when I say it took a suffering, what happened, right? So as I would hit a bump on the highway, I would hit the dip and come back out rebounding and floating the whole time. So I would hit a bump and then just wobble for quite a while. And Baka, if you're watching this, you were in my car when we went over the train tracks, and you kind of feel that. It kind of flopped and floated. And then as time went on, changing my EDC settings on my KW Haas kit, there really was only 2 settings I was using, but I really didn't feel it because it wasn't too much of a difference. Going from Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, majority of the time I was keeping it on Sport Plus because I was having issues with that whole floatiness. So that's something I really wasn't a fan of. Recently, about a month and a half ago, I was kind of doing research and figuring out what I wanted next and what I wanted as a suspension, because like I said, the ride quality wasn't the greatest, and I wanted to go slightly lower in the front because the limitations of the Haas kit was the max drop in the front was 1.2 inch of a drop, which gave it that still wheel gap. And then I was looking into the KW V3s, and then I was looking also to the Bilstein B16s, which I have on this car. So the debate between both of them was the KW V3s are an awesome platform, awesome suspension, awesome coilover kit, but the only issue is you lose the EDC. What is EDC? EDC is your electronic dampening control. So that allows you to adjust your stiffness of the ride. For example, this M3 comes with Sport Plus, Sport, and then Comfort. A majority of the time I leave it in Sport or Sport Plus, and then obviously when I have my fiance in the car, I kind of want to soften up the ride a little bit, and I put in Comfort. And what's great about this suspension kit is that you still have that adjustability. You still feel it. So if I adjust it right now, I'm in Sport Plus. Sport Plus feels a little bit more defined. As you're hitting these imperfections on the road, you feel it a lot more. But when you hit a bump, you rebound pretty quickly to a point where it goes down, and then that's it, comes back up and levels out. With the Haas kit, you would hit a bump and just keep floating. That's the way I describe it. You may describe it a different way. But I've had this suspension for over a month and a half. I have no complaints, but a few I will talk about a little bit later. But going into Comfort. So if I'm in Comfort, which I'll explain later, and then as I'm going downtown, I kind of describe it a little bit later of what I see the comfort settings are. And you can kind of hear my whole description of that later on in the video. But one thing I want to talk about too is how is the ride quality as I'm driving on the highway and stuff. So I know, Ramsey, you're probably thinking you don't want to get a suspension kit or a suspension or coilover, whatever you want to call it, and ruin the ride. I think this definitely improved the ride coming from the KW Haas kit, because you can't really compare springs or a spring kit to a full-on coilover set. It's on a different ballpark. All right, so now I just adjusted the GoPro so you can kind of see what I'm seeing. But I'm gonna give you guys a little pull and show you guys real quick, because when I'm hitting the highway or anything like that and doing a pull, you don't really feel the front lift up and you don't feel the back buckle in. I'm gonna put it in Sport Plus to show you. So right now I'm on 4th gear, going like 60 miles an hour. I'm gonna downshift to 3rd. And I'm gonna do a little pull on the highway. So right now I'm at 47 miles an hour. And I'm gonna do a pull from like maybe 3rd. No, maybe I'll drop it to 2nd. 2nd to probably like 4th again. Hopefully the highway's clear so I can do that for you guys. But you'll see it doesn't, there's no issues with the front lifting up. Obviously, I was still doing the speed limit. But as you saw, very compliant, didn't lift up, felt smooth throughout the whole way. And I'm gonna take this off to the next exit and I'll take it right back. And I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, so I'm hitting these imperfections in the highway right now. And you know, this is 595, full of bumps, full of you know, imperfections on the highway, but it's super comfortable right now. I don't have any issues. Like I said, I'm about to hit a dip right here. So you feel the jerkiness because it's stiff going up, and as you come back down, you feel the car balance out. Oh Jesus, look at all this traffic. All right, so one major reason why I didn't want to go for the KW V3s was because it didn't have the EDC control or the EDC module on the suspension. My personal opinion is if you pay so much for a car like this, M3, M4, M5, if it comes with EDC, why get rid of it, you know? You pay so much for a car like this, you want to retain that. So the V3s were out of my question. So that's something I didn't want to go with. And then the V4s, the KW V4s, was just a astronomical amount of money for me to spend on a suspension as of right now, because I'm saving for a wedding, saving for a house and all that stuff. I have other goals that hopefully I can accomplish. So as of right now, it wasn't suitable for me to, you know, go that route. So like I said, I'm taking you out throughout my day. Earlier today it wasn't raining, now it's raining. probably later on it's not gonna rain. That's how it goes. It rains for like 5 minutes and stops, or it rains for like 20 minutes and stops. So the question is, what do I not like about this suspension? So one thing I do not like about this suspension is the max drop in the front is a 1.57 of a drop, 1.57 inches of a drop in the front. I didn't really pay too much attention in the back because I'm not trying to have the back squat. So if you guys are looking in for that, then look on their website. But the KWV3s is a 1.8 of an inch drop, which gives it a really aggressive stance, which I think a lot of people go for that look. Me personally, you'll see in the B-roll later on, the front is still a slight wheel gap. It's not like horribly bad like I had on my KWs or anything like that. It definitely narrowed it down more, but me personally, I would like to see it go down even more than that. But with that being said, the question is this a suspension kit for you? You really have to decide. You really have to ask yourself all these questions. What are you really looking for? Are you looking for more performance? You're looking for a stance? Are you looking for something that isn't going to break the bank? These are the things that you should look into before making a decision. I went with my thought process of going with something that has EDC, something that is well respected in the racing industry. It's not like I'm racing anyway. All right, so now I'm going to be taking a exit off ramp off 595, and this one is pretty sharp, not too bad, but right now I'm in 4th gear, 65 miles an hour, and it feels well controlled as I go through this turn. $60 miles an hour, no issues, making this turn hard. I got other cars in front of me and behind me. I don't want to go too crazy, but yeah, it feels flat. It feels flat. There's no issues with it at all. 2nd gear pull. All I can say is my choice to upgrade from the KW Haas kit was the right decision. It was definitely the right decision. There wasn't so many reviews on BMW forums or anything like that, or even online, and I just started digging deeper, the ones I did make reviews online, and I saw that a lot of it was very positive. You had a lot of positive reviews, and I reached out to somebody else that made a YouTube video about it, and I DM'd him. I was like, hey, what do you think about the suspension? Is it something you recommend? Is that the lowest end you could go? And I got great feedback. So right now I just switched over to Sport Plus. You're gonna have more of a sharper response on the suspension. So if I hit a bump, you're gonna rebound quickly back to where it was, and you're gonna feel the jolt. But what I said about the KW Haas kit, when you would hit a bump, it'll be floating all around. You're not gonna have that. You're gonna hit the bump hard, and then you're gonna come out of it, and you're gonna be balanced really quickly compared to the Haas kit. So it's all about that recovery after, right? So if you hit that bump and then you come out of it and you're still bouncing, it's floating. No, you don't need that, So with this, once I hit a bump, it comes back and it's balanced. That's the way I describe it. If you guys describe it a different other way, let me know in the description. But as I switch over to sport, or actually right now comfort, this is more for so comfort for me is more like, hey, my fiance's in the car, or your girlfriend, or even your wives or whatever is in the car. You want to put this on because they will complain. So I'm not gonna lie, I put it on Sport Plus one time. I was on the highway and I hit the biggest dip, and then she was like, what are you doing? I was like, suspension, blah, blah, make some nonsense up. But I like to leave it on Sport Plus. It just, obviously this is a sports car, so to say, and I want to drive like a sports car. So I want to feel that harshness. But for example, right now I'm going over bumps in comfort. And right now I'm driving down right now I'm driving down Las Olas, which is you can see right now, surrounded by beautiful houses. And the roads here, they're fixing the roads right now. So I'll show you guys real quick. These are the roads of Las Olas. So as you can see, it's a lot of high-end homes. The roads here are somewhat bumpy, but right now I'm sitting in the car right now and I'm hitting these bumps and dips in comfort. And the way I could describe it is that you could feel the suspension doing everything it can to make sure you're feeling like you're on pillows a little bit. So it kind of feels like OEM, you know, if I could remember what OEM feels like. But as I hit, for example, this bump right here, in comfort, I'm going into the bump, I'm coming out of it, and it's not as stiff. I feel the dampening of the Bilstein Coilovers doing its job to take away the harshness of it. That's the way I could describe it. So as I get closer down here, this is really rough roads, which I don't want to deal with, and plus the traffic right now. But that's the way I could describe comfort. So if you guys have any questions about the KW Haas kit or the Bilstein B16s, feel free to shoot a question down below or even DM me. I've been answering questions and I'm always here to help you guys out. And I also want to thank you guys so much for the support. A lot of you guys are, you know, commenting, giving some positive feedback. I appreciate it. I'm always looking for ways to keep you guys entertained because I know you guys are taking time out of your day to watch these videos, and I appreciate that. If you guys enjoyed this video or find it helpful in any way, hit the thumbs up. It really helps a small channel like myself grow, and I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't subscribed, consider subscribing because I'm coming out with more content. I'm thinking about more content in my head right now as we drive back to my house. So I'm always looking for ways to, you know, keep you guys entertained and always stepping up the quality and content. And to be honest, I definitely really appreciate everybody that watches the video. Even if you guys don't like the video, I appreciate you watching it anyway. But besides, I come from a really humble background, and that's just the way I am. So if you could kind of see the vibe throughout my videos and stuff, that's just the way I am. And the way I am on camera, I'm the way I'm in person. So. And also I wanted to mention too, if you guys are watching this and you guys are local in the state of Florida, we got a huge event coming up on August 22nd. It's called the BMW Invasion event of Melbourne, Florida. Specifically, it's going to be in Vieira High, which is a high school there. A lot of the proceeds that we are obtaining, we're going to be donating it back to the school, just so they could use for the track and field or whatever they want to use it for. That event's going to be huge, and obviously we're encouraging everybody to wear face masks. Thank you, Mom. You made this face mask for me. But other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a